Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, everybody, please you can start finding your seats. Again, to remind everyone, on my left-hand side will be the brothers, and my right-hand side will be for the sisters. Okay, because it's quite a rainy day, so I assume a lot of people are still on the way. But because of the time constraint, so we'll probably have to begin right now, because otherwise our brothers' talk will be interrupted by the time of the prayer, which will be around 5:50 something. All right. So to begin, of course, I would like to welcome everybody to this event. My name is Abdullah. I'm currently one of the imams here at the Taipei Grand Mosque. And it's kind of ironic because this event is actually meant for the students, but me, myself, I'm not a student, nor am I a student from Taiwan. I mean, I didn't study university in Taiwan as well, so probably everybody has more experience than me when it comes to living with the other Muslim students in Taiwan. So, of course, today's event, the main purpose of today's event, of course, is to let everybody have a chance, have an opportunity to meet each other, not only from your own universities, from your own campus, but also to get to know each other, to other students from the other campuses, right? Because actually, I know that many students just came this month because of the new semester, and probably many of them are still not as familiar with Taiwan, and also not really familiar with how to deal with eating the food, halal food, etc. So now, inshallah, we're going to invite Brother Rakha, who is basically also one of our famous representatives among the Indonesian Muslim students in Taiwan. So he's going to give us a short talk about how to survive basically in Taiwan as a Muslim. All right, so now I'll give the floor to Brother Rakha.
So, I have to stuck this in, right?
You can just put it
on the, yeah.
Okay. Check. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wa bihi nasal murtiyawaddin wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyina mursalin wa ala alihi ajmain amma ba'd. Of course, we give our thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful, and also the ones that bring us to this light of day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him. So today, I want to introduce myself. Hello everyone, my name is Rakha Ramadhana, and I'm one of a students in Taiwan. So right now, I'm currently studying PhD in National Taiwan University of Science and Technology, NTUST. So just in Kongkwan, Chilong Road. Okay, so just near here. Okay, so I just want to give an outline because today, Brother Abdullah, thank you so much for having me here today and Taipei Grand Mosque for the chance and opportunity to share about how Taiwan has been or have been Muslim friendly from right now until now and hopefully in the futures. I think there are some like accommodations, hotels, mosques and everything until today, and how also the governments made it possible for us Muslims to survive in Taiwan. So in today, as a retrospective of what So yeah, as a retrospective, so I will share about how can we survive and what are the things that we need to prepare and also what to face and what are the things that are available to us as Muslim here, especially students, but of course generalizing Muslims, not from just Indonesian perspectives, but I will give my own thoughts in terms of Indonesian perspectives. Okay, so let us continue to next slide. Thank you, brother. So this is just an introduction of myself. So currently, I'm one of the contributors that hopefully help other peoples, not just students, but worker and also the civilians that are here in Taiwan, all Muslims in Taiwan in Halal Information Center. So that's the part where I take volunteer to help others, also with another Taiwanese Muslims, to help us and in search for a, let's say, food, halal food and restaurant and other things. So that's one of the things. And also mentoring for Mosque Academy right now is just a community that made by us in order to help Muslim students, but this one especially for Indonesian Muslims. And then I'm one of the former chairman from Indonesian Student Associations, or what we call as PPI Taiwan. And also there's one respective Muslim Students Associations, not associations, it's forum, but what we call by a format. So I've been studying here in Taiwan from almost 3 years, including right now. So I've been studying from Masters in NTUST, and then right now PhD in NTUST as well. So the same department, the same schools. But it actually is different because while in Masters, I'm still singles, and now in PhD, I'm with my wife here. Okay, thank you for just wondering. So I'm now continuing PhD. So we go next to the next slide. This is how I'm going to go to here, how we are in general, Taiwan right now. It's a very recently introduced by one of a event, what we call is halal travel in Taiwan. And one of the speakers mentions that in Taiwan, there are 10 mosques and restaurants that counted as halal certified is 213 something. Their Muslim friendly environments is 111. And their accommodations, means hotel and so on, is 149. I haven't been able to check the validity, but it had been said here in Travel Global Summit in June 2024. So when we can see this number is actually increasing. Because what? Because in terms of like halal certifications, hopefully later other brothers of Taiwan that will add me if there's something that may be misinformed, is trying their best. Even the government, like Taipei government especially, last time they also mentioned that they're trying their best to provide Muslim, not just students, provide Muslims, not just Indonesian Muslims, all Muslims, that they can be able to attend or do and be lively as Muslims in Taiwan. So they have this possibility to show to other nations as well that Taiwan is also Muslim friendly. So that's why this numbers continues to grow, hopefully in the next years, even so. So yeah, so this is the scope of Taiwan. And here, over here is the videos that are actually made by Malaysian company, ex-Taiwan. So I mean like they are fitting or try to compare together, which they also promote that halal travel is also great in Taiwan. So Taiwan actually have a lot of halal body for certifications, and also at the second part is for halal travel. So we can actually see how much they show Taiwan. At the same time, we can actually see how much they have opportunity or chance to show the Muslim population here in Taiwan that we are beginning to see that we want to give you safe and friendly environments as Muslims. Okay, now we go to the next slide. So I just want to highlight how they are providing us in terms of becoming Muslim friendly country. So as you can see, like mosques is actually being everywhere, not just in Taipei, but until you go to Kaohsiung, there are also mosques, but actually the number still, we can count it by hand in terms of like halal travels. So we can see there are 10 mosques right now. There are also a list, later I will share about that. And this is Taipei Cultural Mosque. And one of the accommodations, they say in terms of accommodations, is providing, let's say, Muslim-friendly toilets or restrooms. So what they means by providing Muslim-friendly restrooms, they just have the bidet like that in terms of like try to wash our backs, right? So this is what they meant also by giving the accommodations for Muslim to livelier become Muslim-friendly in Taiwan. And then as you can see, it might not be clear if see with your own perspectives, but over here they also have even the utensils like the plate, the spoon, and also the fork, and then some glasses over here is said and then being certified as halal. So when you see this in one, let's say, hotel or accommodations, it means they have separate sections for halal. It doesn't mean like the whole accommodations or the whole hotel is halal and you can basically eat everything that you want there. No, but they have a separate sections for that. And usually in Taiwan, hopefully in the futures, this is also my hope, it will change as well. When we say halal accommodations in hotel, one of hotels, maybe in some as well, that means we have to reserve. So if we want to have a halal meals and halal accommodations, especially in Taiwan, so we need to reserve this before we come to the accommodations. So that's also one of the requirements. Meaning like if we want to eat something that is halal, it is better to check or contact with the accommodations that halal certified first and be sure that the accommodation is available for halal, then we come there. So that's also one of the, let's say, constraint or limitations right now that's being provided in Taiwan. Like for example, some accommodations, even in the room itself, they have the Quran and also sajadah. So for us to do our daily prayer and also read the Quran. And this is some mosques. And there's also kitchens that it's being, not just kitchen actually. Let's say all the cooking utensils that is there is being stamped with halal certifications. And so this is how they promote and provide to us Muslims and to show that Taiwan is one of the Muslim-friendly countries. So from this, we can learn, actually, one thing that I want to say, it doesn't mean when we see halal certifications in one of the hotel, and then we can get that straight away, not like that. However, we need to and still make sure how can we achieve that halal accommodation. This is a special case for, let's say, accommodations, hotel, and so on. So these are the Muslim-friendly features that I also see, and some musallah. Not, in Taiwan, when I say there are 10 mosques, but there are actually more accommodations inside the accommodation. For example, like Taipei main stations and also some like Taipei 101, they have their own like place for us to do the daily prayers. So be sure when we come there, we seek it first if there's any place for us to do our prayer, even though that we can actually do our prayer in a place where it's clean. That's one part. However, if there is, then we need to check that first. And when we come there, we can also have the accommodation. So it's easier for us to check everything first in Taiwan. I just have like one sentence to describe the Muslim features. In terms of like how can it be easy to be take Taiwan as a Muslim-friendly country, it's if we seek for that. So if we don't seek for Muslim-friendly opportunities or accommodations, it might be hard to find a halal food, halal accommodation, and so on. However, if we search correctly, if we seek and if we look seriously in terms of trying to find the best accommodations and food that is halal for us, the options will be available to us. So this is a matter of how far we're going to give our efforts to look for the halal accommodations and also halal restaurants or food and so. So that's one thing to, when we come to Taiwan, I also have to say that in one of my stories come to Taiwan, the first thing that I took is actually a hot dog. So I don't even know how to eat that in terms of, I just came down, landed from Indonesia and to Taiwan, and then that was the time when it was still COVID and quarantine is mandatory. At the first time that I come there, I'm very hungry. And I don't think too much, and also I'm one of the, let's say, victim to take any food that I got there, even though it has meat, then I eat that for myself. So that's an actual first experience of me trying to eat meat in Taiwan. And then I think afterwards. So this is much happens to all of us, especially when they first came to Taiwan. They just take everything that, let's say, because I'm just beginning to stay here in Taiwan, so I can just take everything for myself. In terms of like, oh, which one that I could eat and which one that I could not eat. We do not think about that. However, when we stay longer in Taiwan, we became careful in thinking which food, which drink that we could drink, and how the accommodations for us and available for us Muslims. So that's some of the things that we want to, let's say, okay, you are learning in Taiwan, that Taiwan is also Muslim friendly, and want to support that if we are seeking and if we are looking for the halal accommodations, the options would be available to us. So that's one thing I need to highlight. Okay, so we go next to the Muslim survival kit. I would say, sorry, I would say all of these are applications that I own myself use, but this is not just limited to all of these applications. So all of here, for example, like Islam Taiwan, is my brother Abdullah and his brother developed that. It's making us easier to find the restaurant as well. In Indonesia, and the marketed targeted towards is the Muslim in Taiwan, we use also Halalin application. So this both, actually we can download Islam Taiwan if it's possible actually. And then for Halalin is available in iOS and Android. So what we could do with these two, I want to highlight this one first, is that we could scan. That's the first thing that I want to highlight. The ingredients of what we could eat, if it has an ingredient sections. So in Taiwan, the one thing that mandatory for every product is actually the ingredients in that product. What are those ingredients? And we can read it ourselves. If we are not able to read for ourselves, we can use one of these tools to have their, let's say, because today is the age of AI, we can just use their tools to find out and do the visualizing or data processing, then to check and then see which one that we could eat, which one it might be subuhat or better to avoid for us. So these are two for that in terms of what I'm looking. And then like they have like prayer tables as well, finding qiblas as well, and then some of the products and locations or restaurants that have halal certifications. You could try to check these two. In terms of like Indonesian perspectives, I would say this is not all, but one of the organizations like FORMIT, like I say, there's an Indonesian Students Forum in Taiwan, Muslim Students Forum, and IMSA, NTUST IMSA, in NTUST is one of the MSA, Muslim Student Associations. So hopefully later we will have like sharing sessions with the MSA. And for Mosa Academy, let's say it's still in beginning in terms of how can we provide for Muslim students, especially in Taiwan. And then for travel, if you could check their website and also applications for Salam Taiwan, I think it's from Malaysia, and then Undiscovered Taipei, also from the government as well, you could see that they have a lot of options, just the same like Halalin and then Islam Taiwan. And then for the origin country, make sure for survival, you need to follow, like if we are in Indonesia, we have actually two most of the popular in terms of organizations for Muslim organizations that we need to follow in terms of whether it's determining which one is Ramadan, or not which one, I mean when is Ramadan and what the time is for Adha, Idul Adha. And then like PCNU Taiwan and Muhammad Taiwan is one of the guidance in terms of us in determining that as well as Indonesians. So this would need to be relatively chosen based on your country. What I'm trying to say, don't lose connections with your own country in terms of like if you are Muslim, in terms of a lot of Muslims there, the populations. So try to take one of those organizations if they are available in Taiwan. For Indonesian case, these two organizations that came from Indonesia actually available in Taiwan. So we can follow in terms of how we seek, and then even they provide some halal meat. So don't forget about your respective origin country to come to here. And for Taiwan's as well, we have actually, I cannot show it here. There's too much halal certification body that we can follow in terms of how can they available to us. And when we see the products, we came to see a lot of halal logo, not just one, actually there are multiple. So we'll be sure to see if they have any logo of that that means that we could safely consume that either restaurants or food or any products. So yeah, so we can go to the examples of how we can use these tools. We go to the next slide. So these are Islam Taiwan's homepage. It's actually being created also by Abdullah and then his brother. And then Salam Taiwan, this actually have a maps list out where are the accommodations, the ones that I mentioned in the first slide, like how can we do our salah, how can we eat our food. So over here, as you can see, you don't even try to realize that in Taipei, there's a lot of things like this. When we see in our, for example, like maybe Google Maps or Maps in iOS, when we open that, we usually didn't see so much like this. However, like what I said before, when we search for that, when we seek for that, the options is available to us. So don't I will say, because the options is available to us, so there's no urgencies for us to take what cannot be done. Let's say consume haram. So it's still not possible actually because the option is still available. And then like Taiwan tourism, they also have a list, the same like Islam Taiwan. So be sure to visit some of these websites, but not limited to these websites. There are actually a lot that provide this, but I'm just showing this for an examples that this might be some of the tools that could carefully and then quickly we use after we're done with the sharing. So okay, this is one of the examples, and the next one, also same examples, is that we could try to, this one is from Islam Taiwan, and then we can detect the food ingredients. At the same time, for the halalint, it's actually, both of these are international apps that we can use, that we can seek the food, scan ingredients, even scan the barcode of that product. So for example, sometime in Taiwan, when we have another product in, for example, in Taipei, and we compare that the same product in Kaohsiung, for example, sometime in Kaohsiung, the same store, like Family Mart, 7-Eleven, High Life, same product, sometimes they don't have the halal logo. So how can we make sure of that? By using the barcode, it is also possible to investigate whether it's the exact same product in terms of barcode, whether it's the ones that in Kaohsiung that's certificated with halal, and then the ones that in Taipei. So we can also use these tools for providing that. And the things that I also mentioned is this one, Halal Information Center. So it's a line group. If you are prefer to use the traditional way of asking whether can we consume this, whether can we drink this or not, or something like that, we can go to the Halal Information Center. So it's not limited to Indonesians. All internationals, our origin country can come into there. We actually have like 3 groups. It is also being prepared or created by Formit, the ones that organizations that also mentions. So in here, we can also share and show the product. It's a let's say crowd sources as well. So all of these pictures are not from the Formit themselves of the organization that made that, but actually from the members inside that group. For this one, they have more databases, and we can look also from here. In Islam Taiwan, have a lot of databases for the product and also the restaurant or maybe accommodations for us, Muslim, and how to survive in Taiwan. So there are many tools for us to, let's say, survive in Taiwan when we just becoming maybe students or when we just work here in Taiwan. There's a lot of accommodations and mosques and, let's say, conveniences for us Muslims to check. Even in, I'm not endorsed by them, but it's Family Mart. Let's say they actually have a separate sections for Muslims themselves. So when you go there, and then you see they even use, because it's an Indonesian perspective, they even use Bahasa Indonesians for the menu, and then also to say that the food is consumable by Muslims. So if we could find things like that, that is like hidden gem. Like yesterday, me and my wife, actually we found fish nuggets that is certified halal in some of the markets that is not certified halal at all. When we just opened the freezers, and then we just like checking inside, everything's there. We don't think that there's going to be halal product there. But when we found that, that's like finding gems in some of the muds, okay? That's really what I could say is alhamdulillah that we found that product is not even to the place that we could think of, and maybe it's not even shown here as well. So be sure when we are going somewhere in Taiwan, we have this like feeling in our chest to say, or when we see halal logo, or when we see that is certified halal, our chest feels like really try to open, and then okay, alhamdulillah, becomes relief that we can actually consume some of these foods or drink. So that is just one way to also that we could try to have in our own heart and also mind, that when we come to Taiwan, those are the things that they're being done, and then I believe they're trying their best, and we can just try to support some. For example, like the activities that I will show in the next slide, maybe we could go to the next slide, is a lot of activities, not just limited to the organizations that I mentioned, even in halal travels, even just next to us in Tan Park, there's usually a lot of activities that also like inviters that have a lot of events and have a lot of booths. All of the booths is halal, and we can also consume from that as well. Not just in Taipei, but they also have in Taichung, and they also have in Kaohsiung. So it's just a matter if we want to look or not. So that is the one thing that I want to emphasize. In Taiwan, it's not, let's say, it's not hard to find halal accommodations for us, but the problem is that we may not even look for that. So if we don't look for that, the options might not be available for us. However, if we're trying to look and try our best, what it will say, Allah will say, ikhtiyar, to our best, then we will find all of these options. So is Taiwan's Muslim friendly? I would say yes, and they're beginning to have more Muslim friendly accommodations and halal certification and so on. Hopefully in the futures we could safely say that fully 100% that Taiwan is Muslim friendly, because this is one of the, I would say, campaign that they try to broadcast to all of our neighbor country, especially in Muslim countries, to come to Taiwan, invite them to Taiwan to have and try for, let's say, for the first time travel and maybe study and work in Taiwan. So I think that's all. This is the activities that this is in my campus. One of the activities from Indonesian. This is also for meet. Both of these are for meet. And sometimes there are also like travel agencies, Muslim travel agencies that invite us, maybe some of you here, to come for free and to promote their travel agencies. So maybe in some of the futures when you see a line group or maybe in social media, they will promote their own travel agencies with telling you to come just for free, and then you will go to, for example, like Pingtong, maybe in Kaohsiung. Me and my wife actually have a chance multiple times to come to like Kaohsiung, Pingtung for free for just promoting Muslim travels. So hopefully that could be best and benefited for you. And how can we have Muslim friendly a convenience in Taiwan is the way that we look at it. If we don't look for that, that's one thing I want to say, the options might not be available to us. Okay, I think that's all if I'm not mistaken, so go to the next slide. Yes, so that's all the things that I want to share. Feel free to have a discussions and sharing. All of the information here, as a disclaimer, is not limited to. You could still look to every sources that you will have, especially if you are from neighboring Muslim countries. There might be some organizations and some of the community that's trying to, in terms of like provide you the best options. How can you have the Muslim friendly accommodations in Taiwan? So that's all from me, from my presentations. I hope you get benefited from that. Oh yeah, sorry, that's my daughter just crying over there. Okay, thank you so much for the chance. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.